back to the channel. So today is a video that I felt I had to make for you guys, really, because I was trying to find this exact video and there isn't one for some mind-blowing reason. I don't know why, because what we're doing today, we are comparing we don't want to drop that out there. We're comparing the Taylor GS Mini to the Harley Benton GS Travel. Now, I have been searching for a Taylor, like a second-hand one, because I'm from Yorkshire, I'm tight, I don't like paying new for guitars. So I've been looking for a good deal on the GS Mini for a while, and I found one. I think I got this for £340. Now, this I've had for around a month now, and it is absolutely awesome. Like, I've fallen in love with this thing. This is probably like one of the only acoustics that I've got that I play now, and I've got some quite nice acoustics. I've got an Alvarez, I've got a quite high-end Yamaha. This thing, man, it just sounds so nice. Like, it just sounds natural. Like the warmth and like character you get out of this is unlike anything. Now, I know these get like rave reviews, and now I know why. Really, really good. This is the spruce model. I know the top looks quite dark, but this is from 2011, so it's had 11 years to darken up. So what I did was order the spruce GS Mini, because if I ordered the mahogany GS Mini, GS Travel, GS, it wouldn't have been a very fair comparison. So as you can see, this is the spruce top GS Travel by Harley Benton, and we're going to compare them because, yeah, so when I started my search for this, you know, you try and find things that compare against it or are as good, and that led me to stumble across this, which then you head to YouTube and do all your Taylor GS Mini versus this guitar, that guitar, Martin's, and the Harley Benton, which is supposed to be pretty much a direct copy of the Taylor, and there was no video. Like, what? You can't tell me that nobody has ever thought about comparing this to this. Like, I didn't even want this guitar, but I felt that the video needed to be made. You know, for £100, I took the hit for you guys, basically, because, you know, I must not be a total arsehole. Maybe 90%. So yeah, I've had this around 3 or 4 days. I've had this about a month. This thing I'm in love with already, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to discount this. I will be truthful, I always will. I've restrung this with the same strings that I put on this, which are the Dario EJ17s. They are 13 gauge strings, and well, they're not 13 gauge, but 13s. And yeah, so these might be a bit brighter because they're fresher strings. I don't recommend these strings whatsoever. When you first put them on, you know, they sound quite nice, but after a few days they just totally lose the shit, and they don't sound great, but because they're already on this guitar, I put them on this guitar for a direct comparison. I will be putting elixirs on this, see how it goes. But yeah, so let's have a look into it. Like, you can see, I took a picture of the construction of the Harley Benton, which I will put on the video now. And you can see the construction isn't too bad, but there are like slight little bits, like the some of the joints aren't properly flush. There are bits of like splinters on the truss rod hole, and you know, just bits and bobs, nothing too major. The reason this guitar I think is so good is because of the bowl on the back of it. Like, it's not flat, and that helps it project sound like really well for the size of the guitar. I didn't expect this to have that, because it costs, you know, to make the wood that shape more than just a flat piece of wood, but it actually does have the bowl on it, which is great. The pins on this are a lot better than the GS Travel, which are really cheap plastic, and they could probably do with replacing. The gloss finish on the back of the body of the GS Travel is awful, really thick, like gloss finish, compared to the Taylor, which, as you can see, is really nice. It's like a satin finish all the way around the body, which I feel helps with the tone and the sound, helps the body vibrate a bit more. I think the gloss, just, it's a bit like putting a sock over a speaker, in my opinion. The neck joints, the Taylor is better, because the GS Travel, it has a bit of a shitty neck joint here, but you know, once again, this is £100, this is about $5.50, so you expect little things like that. The fret job on both of them is really nice. The frets on the Taylor are slimmer than the ones on the Harley Benton. They're quite fat, to be fair. I will put a picture of that up here so you can see the difference between the two. So yeah, the tuners on the Taylor are really nice. They're just, you know, your standard metal Taylor tuners, but they work really well. They don't wobble about, and they, you know, and they work, which is what you want from a tuner. The Harley Benton tuners work, but if you were going to have this as your only guitar, I would change them, because when I restrung it yesterday, the tuners like started wobbling about and the buttons were loose, which isn't a problem, you know, it takes a screwdriver to tighten them up. But also the feel of the buttons on the Harley Benton, they feel really cheap, which, you know, they are, but it's something that is easily changeable. The Taylor tuners, absolutely fine. So yeah, the setup, I can't speak on the setup of the Taylor because I set it up, and now the action is really nice. The setup on the GS Travel Harley Benton, the action was quite high when it came, but I've set it up a little bit because I'm going to be giving this guitar to my daughter, and I will let her tell me how she wants it. But it's, you know, it's nice. All from the lower frets to about the 12th are playable. Gets a bit high up here, but it's nothing that you couldn't deal with. So yeah, The headstock on the Harley Benton is ugly as fuck. Are really fucking ugly. I don't know why they would have come up with that, but they did. Tailor headstock, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. You've got a matte finish with the logo, and you've got a gloss finish on the Harley Benton. Now, the neck profiles of these are completely different. You would think, with this being a clone of this, that they would be the same, and they are very similar, except the necks. Like the neck on this is so comfortable, like really comfortable. It's not too thick, and it has a really nice round feel. It just fills your hand perfectly. But the neck profile on the Harley Benton, I've heard a lot of people like complain about this. Why did they use this profile? I think it must be something to do with strength, because there is no other reason why they would have used it, because it's fucking awful basically. It's a V profile, which I've never had on any guitar, and it just feels weird. Like, it's not horrible. Once you're playing it, yeah, that didn't sound good. Once you're playing it, it kind of fits into your hand. You don't really notice it, but it still just feels a bit unnatural. Other than that, you know, for £95, it's a really good bass just to modify really, and you know, put your own little touch on it, get your action how you want it, get your own strings on it, maybe replace the nut and the saddle for some nice bone ones. The pins I would replace, the tuners I would replace, but then you're looking at another £100. So is it worth it for £200 after you've done all them modifications? And that is the question really. £200 to have it all nice, you know, saddle, nut, tuners changed, pins changed, or do you just buy a second-hand Taylor that you can get for about £350? And if I was you, I would buy the Taylor all day long. It's just magical. It has something special about it, the woods and everything. But we'll do some sound tests and you might completely disagree. This thing has had new strings yesterday. This thing had new strings about 3 or 4 weeks ago, so there is that difference. They are the same strings, but you know, is what it is. Make your own mind up. Just before we go into the sound tests, I want to just compare the cases, because a lot of people have said, oh, you know, the case, it's exactly the same as the Taylor one. It's not, obviously. You know, you're not going to get the same case as this with a £100 guitar. It's a very poor imitation, but it's okay for what it is. Like, the Taylor case is really well made. The padding in this thing is about an inch thick, and on the sides you've got about 1.5 inches of padding compared to, and the straps are really nice on it. You know, all like aerated on the back, good handle there, leathery handles on the sides compared to that. So I don't know who the people were that saying that they compare. They don't. But that being said, this isn't a bad case. You know, it does the job, but it's, I don't know what it's got in for padding. It feels like some old socks, or a sock. It's really thin, probably about 1/4 inch. and yeah, just the bog standard straps. None of the, you know, nice little bits that are on the tailor one, but it does its job. So, you know, it's better than no case at all. So yeah, let's get into the sounds, and you can make your own mind up, buy what you want to buy. The Harley Benton is a nice guitar, it does feel good. It plays and it sounds, you know, okay. But, you know, the Taylor is a whole different league, and if you pick up a used one for a good price, it's a no-brainer. So, as you can hear from them sound clips, either the Harley Benton or the Taylor, depending on your budget, they both sound good. The Taylor, in my opinion, is nice. It has a more bass and it is slightly easier to play. I think the fretboard is a bit wider on the Taylor, but either guitar and you're laughing.